Hi, this is Kevin Heras from InvestNext, and you're listening to the Passive Investor Show.
A lot of investors I partner with have one major challenge. They are busy professionals that love to create memories with their families, but are too busy to actively look and find value-add real estate that cash flows. Hey guys, I'm John Fortes, and I want to partner with you. I provide investment opportunities through apartment syndications that allow my partners to invest passively so they don't have to worry about trading more time for money. If you are interested in creating passive streams of income, wealth creation, and all the tax benefits that come along with investing through real estate, I encourage you to fill out the form at www.investwithfortes.com. Invest today so that tomorrow you can trade money for time. Once again, that's www.investwithfortes.com. And I can't wait to partner with you.
Are you a busy professional looking to diversify your portfolio? Ever wanted to passively invest in real estate but don't know where to start? John Fortes provides you with a guide to passively invest in real estate. This is the Passive Investor Show.
And now, the Passive Investor Show. Here's your host, John Fortes.
Hello, PI listeners. Thank you for lending me your time today. Welcome to the Passive Investor Show. I'm John Fortes. Our goal is to provide you, the busy professional, with passive investing tips and tricks for your real estate investments to leverage more time for you to focus on your true passions. Let's get to work. Welcome, PI listeners, to the Passive Investor Show. I'm John Fortes. Our goal and purpose of this show is to be a resource to passive investors and help them master their investments in real estate funds. Today's guest is Kevin Heras, co-founder of InvestNext, a software that modernizes the way real estate syndicators raise and manage capital. Prior to funding InvestNext, he was employee number 2 at the college career network startup Handshake, where he contributed to initial product development efforts. Handshake is currently valued at over $400 million and is the leading college to career recruiting platform in the nation. Kevin is honored to be part of the seasoned team of software engineers and real estate professionals that is building the InvestNext platform, which to date has managed 230 plus syndications and over $1 billion in capital. Kevin, welcome to the show and thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me on, John.
Tell us a little bit more about your background and how you got into software development.
Yeah, so as you pointed out, I'm a graduate of Michigan Tech, and little known college in the northernmost part of the state of Michigan. It's literally 9 hours north of Detroit. Most people might know that place, but small engineering school. Big influence in that space in terms of, very sort of technically focused college. That kind of segues into what you just mentioned, my involvement at Handshake, that's where the bug bit me. And I saw what it took to take a company from literally zero to 1, right? It was just that the fact that you had a ragtag bunch of college students trying to build a career platform that was competing against the big behemoths in the space. And, it was just working late nights, trying to get the product out, trying to evangelize it, getting said no a bunch of times until we got it right. So that just kind of became extremely formative in what went into InvestNext today. So that's been a huge part of my identity and kind of the contribution to the team.
Walk us into how you guys started InvestNext and why InvestNext.
Yeah, so it was almost you could say by, not sure if accident or serendipity or however you want to call it, but it was my co-founder. He had built a product that helped real estate investment firms, specifically one. It was just a one-off consulting project, but that helped the firm streamline their investor relations, reporting, etc. Very simple application, helped investors get their financial information, their investment positions in that specific company's investments. And so, nice tool tailored for the investors. Word got around, a bit organic in terms of people hearing like, hey, I have investors in my group, but I'm sure they would like to get their information kind of delivered to them in a concierge manner. So that was kind of the aha moment. It's like, well, wait a second, there is a big need in the space for this type of a tool. And that's how it got started. I mean, it was just my co-founder. I met him, software engineer, extremely talented. He came to me, with the idea, and we both realized that this is a fantastic business to build. And 2.5 years later, here we are as a full platform.
I love it. I know what it can do for the general partnership side, but can you walk me through what it can do for the limited partner passive investor side? Yeah.
So it's in simple terms. I mean, it's transparency, and really, the limited partners are, they're becoming savvier. They're becoming more data hungry. They're used to it, the online brokerages, and of course that type of experience, to have that with their, the operators and the groups that they're investing in, is certainly completely transferable, and that's what they're coming to expect. So, as a limited partner, I should be able to log into my account with the investment group, the syndication, and see, okay, what have I invested to date so far? How, what are my returns to date? How am I performing across not only a specific project, but even across my entire portfolio with your group? So it really just provides that real-time feedback of their performance and how things are performing across the portfolio. That's one aspect, right? That's just one end of things. I mean, the other side of it is being able to view potential investments, deals that they could get involved in, be able to view any details on that, and of course commit all through a digital platform.
That's awesome. So you're saying, as a limited partner, once I sign up to the sponsor's site and they're part of the portal, I'm able to see all the offerings there. I'm able to see everything I've ever invested in, sort of like a brokerage. So if there's a new deal, I can go and invest and commit to a new deal, and also streamline that whole process in there. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. So, just as you're, used to, perhaps buying shares online, or, trading shares, it's really conceptually the same thing, right? You have your sponsor is putting up a new opportunity, across, their investors. And so you as an investor can kind of have maybe that first glance at that opportunity, and of course indicate, hey, I'm really interested in this. So literally with a click of a button, you're saying reserve now, and then you're taken through the very sequential steps of committing that capital and transacting that all online.
That's pretty cool. So if I'm an investor and I bumped into someone's portal, I'm not able to sign up without being invited first, right? Is that the process?
So it depends by group. Some groups, they have sort of very tight-knit relationships with their investors, capital partners, etc. So some sponsors might do sort of by invitation, kind of concierge only approach. Other groups, if you're doing sort of a general solicitation, might open it up completely. They might say, hey, self-register for the account, receive approval, and you're in. You can view upcoming deals, potential investments.
I like that. I like the different sides of that. So I have a question, as when I'm signed up and I want to see all the investments that I'm invested in, what's that look like for the passive investor? Is that just every deal right there, right in front of me, or do I have to click into specific spots?
So it really, it's the point of it is, at first glance, we try to sort of work from a top down approach, right? So when you first log in, you should be able to see sort of everything at a glance, like where am I at today in my portfolio? How am I performing? But from that point, you're able to drill down into each project and view each of the performances across the board.
That sounds good. Exactly how I would want to see everything from the top level down. And now,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Well, and I was just going to mention, the thing about this is, so there's one part of it, financial performance, being able to see metrics on how things are doing. But there's second part of it is kind of that, maybe call it that human element. So there's a lot of emphasis on communication to investors. So again, investors, you as an investor expect to receive proactive communication on how a given project is performing. So, that therein is baked the idea of, a private blog where you can see the sponsor just sent out an update on a construction effort in a given property or whatnot. So we're trying to create a seamless back and forth channel between the sponsor and the investor. So beyond financial, there's also that sort of that human element to it.
So deal by deal, I'll be able to see the communications from that specific deal from the sponsor, even though I do already have the email for it.
Exactly. Yeah. So multiple channels where you can be engaged as an investor. So the idea, your sponsor might send out a communication across the board. You might see that in email format, but at the same time, they might send an update via your deal room or the portal. So you just have multiple ways where you can access that information on the go.
I like that. And now, as an investor, when I'm making an offering and I want to go about the process of committing to this opportunity because I like the way this deal looks when it was offered, what's that process like for me on that platform?
So the idea here is it's first of all very guided for the investor. So the concept here is you're presented with the deal as a whole. So you go into a given deal room, for instance. So you see an interesting investment, you jump in, and the first thing you're going to see is the collateral around it. So you might see videos, you might see updates from the sponsor, communicating details on the projections for the given project. When you're ready to commit, there's no hard point to say, well, I'm not sure, like, if I commit, am I locking in? There's sort of different levels of being able to reserve your interest in that project. So we call it a reserve now button. So the idea is you can actually indicate, hey, sponsor, I am interested in this. I still want to learn a bit more about it. You can have that back and forth conversation with the sponsor. And then, as you're resolving those questions, you can, again, continue that commitment through the process and through that document flow right within the portal.
I like that. It makes it real clean and sharp where you can reserve your spot and review all the material along with that particular investment opportunity. So I like the way that's presented to the investors. Is there anything else we should know about it?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that, I think it's, being mindful of how the sponsor presents, new deals, how they present their existing portfolio. I think we're seeing it's a very good indicator of how sophisticated the sponsor is in kind of the operations of their day-to-day business. And again, we live in the world where digital is ubiquitous, right? People, we shop online like it's second nature. I mean, that's just how the world is working, right? We go to Amazon, we click buy, and we don't even think about how that whole transaction happened. It just magically happens and it ends up on your door. Well, that's what tomorrow's investor is. I mean, and today's investor is kind of driving towards that experience. And so again, it's just a good metric that when you're working with a sponsor, just to kind of look at the gauge and say, how sophisticated have they implemented trustworthy systems, et cetera. So we're trying to build trust among the LP and the GP at the end of the day.
I love it. And now you hit on something where I want to kind of dive into. Now I want to fund the deal. How do I go about funding the deal on the platform? Is there a way where I can connect my account and just basically, yes, I want to fund make my commitment, my 50K, my 100K a commitment and go? Is that just hit a button and go? Is that the way it works?
So those are actually, you're at the forefront of what we're doing right now. So we solved a few problems when we rolled out InvestNext. Historically, the problem has been for the sponsor being able to just manage the back office operations. So for the longest time, the biggest pain point for investors was, okay, when is my distribution coming due? What is that allocation amount? What's my distribution schedule look like? And how can you report on that to me, right? And so we solved a huge portion of that problem. Again, with our automated waterfalls and whatnot, that's kind of all the back office stuff that the sponsor is able to communicate to the investor efficiently. So payments can be run through the platform on that side. In terms of the fundraising, so think of it on the flip side, and you now as an investor are committing capital on the portal. The next thing we're building as part of this is actually being able to connect a bank account right as you're actually ready, as you're committing and actually funding the deal. So today, the sponsor gives you actual wiring instructions where you say, hey, jump into your bank account, complete these details. But tomorrow, and literally, when I say tomorrow, it's literally within a month, we're rolling out the fact that you're now able to actually connect that bank account right there within the interface. So that's a huge streamlining effort where, again, you as the investor don't have to hop in and out of the system to actually fund the deal and actually view where the funds are at in process.
I love the way that sounds because it makes it really efficient and easier. But let's talk about a little bit security. How secure is that aspect for connecting to my bank account? Yeah,
so certainly we work with institutional partners that actually manage the actual transaction. So the idea here is that this is all being supported by the largest institutions and payments providers in the world. And so our actual payments partner is Duala, and they've been fantastic to work with. So basically what Duala is it's an ACH network, and they connect multiple banking institutions together so that when you're actually transacting funds through our platform, it goes securely through their ACH platform, and then they're able to disperse those funds accordingly. So security-wise, handled by world-class institutions. And then at the same time, it just boils down to the actual security of when you're actually logged in, the actual stringency for you to actually set up a password, two-factor authentication, that's all in place to even secure that. So basically, the experience you have with online banking, it's literally it's a case-by-case match with our platform.
I love that. And you kind of segued into how do I get paid? What's that process like? Now I'm waiting as a passive investor. I'm waiting for my distributions to hit monthly, quarterly, however it is. What's that process like?
Yeah. So this, again, as investors, we expect to get proactive communication on when am I getting my next distribution? When are these distribution notices coming? When is that money landing in my bank account? Obviously, it's a meaningful part of our livelihood, and we would expect to have that sort of proactive communication. All of that, the sponsor has all of the tools in place where they can automate and ensure that there is minimal, zero error on that side of things. So everything from the sponsor having a built-in waterfall calculator that understands the entire structure of the project, is able to run those allocations and those distributions across all their investors. So you as an investor are getting something that's again has been vetted and has been very accurately calculated across our waterfall engine. So you as an investor, again, your experience with that is I receive a statement saying your next distribution is going to be X dollars, and you have that for your records. You also get a digital transcript saying, hey, you should be receiving this X number of funds in X many days. So you have a proactive communication all along the way as those funds actually land in your bank account, and you have a whole paper trail leading up to that.
I really like the tool. I really like the product. I think it's real smooth. It's clean. And I want to leave you with one question. What's one piece of advice you would give to a passive investor regarding a platform such as yours?
I hit on the same kind of point as earlier, I think it's, again, the sophistication of the groups that you work with has a lot to do with, what systems and technologies they have in place. And ultimately, you trust, obviously their trust is in many levels. So you obviously work with individuals and sponsors that have a track record. And a lot of this is relationship built over time. And so you as an investor, certainly savvy enough to know that individual, that group, but also the advice is, as you're kind of looking out for new potential partners and investments, I'll just kind of keep in mind, how sophisticated is their communication with me. For us as investors, I think that's a real telltale sign of how that group, operates and how effectively they communicate across the board. So just keeping in mind what they have in place, and how do they communicate their brand with their technology.
I agree with that, Kevin. It's a professionalism across the board really, as an operator, separates you from the person that isn't really invested in their systems and processes. And so to be able to handle multiple investors, you got to be able to have these practices or systems and processes implemented in your business to be able to handle the bulk and the questions and the information that you want to give out to your passive investors. So if they're using a sophisticated system like yours, like InvestNext, it's pretty much they've invested in their business because they're dealing with investors on a daily basis. And it makes it easier. Like you said, the back end process was the focus. And now you guys are transitioning that to the overall process of even to how to fund the deal and how to get your capital back. I love it, Kevin. I love it. Is there anything else you want to leave with us, or how can we stay in touch with you?
Yeah. It's exciting. We live in a day and age that technology is helping us solve a lot of problems. Historically, the passive investor could not get involved in quite frankly, lucrative opportunities that wouldn't have been available to them. And I think technology is really enabling us to do that. Small scale operations, syndicators, sponsors, they're able to operate within their geography, their know-how, and they're able to present opportunities to passive investors in ways that historically they've never been able to do that. And of course, again, technology being at the center of this. And so we're super excited to be building that type of platform for both the LPs and the GPs. And kind of the bigger vision is really democratizing real estate investing for everybody. So always happy to engage in conversation, learning. You can always reach me directly at kevin@investnext.com. And of course, you can always jump on our website, www.investnext.com. We even have a little chat agent on there. So likely it's either myself or one of the team members that'll answer you at any given moment. But yeah, happy to engage.
I love it, Kevin. If you're a limited partner right now and you're a passive investor and your sponsor doesn't have something professional right now, tell them to reach out to InvestNext. Tell them to reach out to Kevin and at least experience the demo process for their customer experience. Because at the end of the day, we're a fiduciary responsibility to give investors a smoother, easier investing experience to basically keep track of their investments. So busy professionals, you don't want the clunky, big processes. You want smooth, easy, and whatever it takes. If it's a system on the back end, that's what your sponsor should have. It shouldn't be a hard process or jumping through hoops. So Kevin, I want to thank you for coming on and sharing your software, your product to the community, because it's been awesome. It's been game changing.
No, it's an honor. It's an honor to be working with a lot of the groups that we work with today. We wouldn't be what we are without them. And, certainly appreciative of you having me on here today, John, to communicate that appreciation.
We thank you for coming on. PI listeners, thank you for listening. As always, we hope this was the best resource for your investment strategy, but also the best use of your time. As much as it pains us to leave you, but you know what time it is. It's time to go put this into practice. Till the next time we meet. PI listeners, I'm grateful for your time and I appreciate you for listening. For more information, go to PassiveInvestorShow.com. If any of this resonates with you, please subscribe and leave a review. The more you know, the more we grow. Thank you for tuning in. Till next time.